A man with a kingly Air One. Night, heavy rain. 10 bodyguard vehicles protect the formation, majestic and powerful, moving forward on the road. A silver RV started, with psychedelic lights inside and a handsome man leaning back on the velvet seat. In the shadow, it was hard to see his expression clearly, but the sharp-edged outlines, the chilling dignity in the coldness, and even the taut line of his jaw were all so handsome that it was shocking. The palm of his hand suddenly grasped the woman's chin. She knelt and sat between his legs, her face forced to be raised high, showing a frightened and uneasy look. "You want to bite me off?" He held her fragile jaw. A hint of evil flashed in his dark green eyes. The woman couldn't help but shiver. "I'm sorry, Master D. The car suddenly bumped, and I wasn't careful." "Sit up." The woman was stunned. Obviously, she still hadn't recovered from the panic just now. While he lifted her up, he tore her body-covering skirt into pieces. "Open your legs." A cold and forceful command. She spread her legs tremblingly, looked at his high spirits, and wanted to sit down slowly. He suddenly pressed her shoulders and forced her down, as always, pushing forward vigorously. He buried his face in her hair and smelled her fragrance. "If you are not careful next time, you won't have such good luck." "Oh, I can't do it anymore." Unable to bear the hugeness, the woman couldn't help but moan rapidly, and her body began to tremble violently. Her reaction seemed to give him a great sense of accomplishment. He sucked hard and moved faster and faster. Rumble. Amidst the sound of the thunderstorm, the blood in the RV was gushing, and the sound of blushing, heart-beating moans and rough breathing could be heard. Holding her softness tightly and squeezing it wantonly, his breath, eyes, and even his breath were full of indescribable eroticism and lasciviousness. So. 10 bodyguard cars stopped in front of the beach villa. Countless black-clad bodyguards got out of the car in the rain to respond. They stood upright and well-trained, and formed 2 rows of guards. A man who exuded the aura of a king walked out of the RV. He was handsome and noble, and his expression was as cruel as hell. The silver cuff sparkled. All the bodyguards saluted him and looked at him with fear and admiration. Young Emperor Nangong, the helmsman of the most authoritative Nangong group in Asia, is only 28 years old, but he runs in both black and white and can make many plutocrats and military officers tremble with fear. The woman was still hanging on him, her cheeks were red with shame, and her head was buried in his chest. They were connected to each other, and every time he moved, the intense stimulation made her gasp for breath to prevent herself from fainting. At the same time, his body kept trembling, his hands and feet were weak, and he was about to fall if he couldn't hold his waist. "Young Master Emperor, I was wrong. I won't dare to be careless next time. Please let me go." Young Emperor Nangong raised the corners of his lips ruthlessly. "I know I was wrong. You should be thinking about how to please me better later." The British butler followed suit and opened his umbrella. All the bodyguards turned a blind eye to the scene in front of them, as if it was a normal scene. Candlelight flickers in the villa, and Baroque furniture is luxuriously furnished. The long gauze curtains swayed with the sway of the big bed. Xia Qianshan slowly woke up in the bathroom. The first thing she heard was the sound of rain outside the window. It was heavy and violent, hitting her eardrums with a dull pain. Her body was pressed against the cold porcelain floor. When she heard a vague moan, she subconsciously got up and walked in that direction. The bathroom door was not closed, but opened slightly, and at a glance, a man and a woman were naked and entangled on the bed. Xia Qianshan was confused and shocked by the scene in front of her. She hurriedly took 2 steps back to hide herself. Her head was still aching. She put her hand on her forehead. She is the hourly worker of this villa and comes to clean the villa regularly every day. The owner is strict in her private life and doesn't like interference from outsiders such as servants and housekeepers, nor does she like to see strangers. Her daily job is not only to clean the duplex villa, but also to leave before the owner returns home. You have to remember clearly that our young emperor is moody. If he sees you in a bad mood, he will lose your job at any time. You are such a high-paying hourly worker. If you are not qualified, I believe there are many people who dream of it." Xia Qianchen closed her eyes and had been working peacefully for half a month. Today, when she was cleaning the bathtub, her vision suddenly went dark and she fainted. The moans grew louder. Xia Qianchen frowned, clearly feeling that they were approaching the bathroom. She looked around, and in a hurry, she walked to the window and pulled down the curtain. "Master Emperor, Master Emperor, Master Emperor, I promise not to make any mistakes again. Please forgive me, okay?" One after another, rapid moans mixed with sobs sounded painful and extremely pleasurable. Xia Qianchen was stiff, clinging to the wall like a block of wood, and her back was soaked with sweat. Behind her was the window. Outside, the night was blurry and the rain was pouring. She tried hard to let her thoughts wander away and not listen to the lustful voice. After a long time, her legs became numb. They show no signs of stopping yet. Her eyes were cold, and she was hiding here to eavesdrop on other people's privacy. It was really not her style, but she tightened her palms. She needed this job. Suddenly, a thunder and lightning exploded, as if ringing in my ears. Xia Qianchen moved defensively and moved her right foot. She obviously heard the man's seductive breathing stop. "What's wrong, young Master D? Drunk in a pool of spring water too. Are you going to be discovered?" Xia Qianchen's heart felt heavy, and she could almost imagine the scene of her being dragged out from here and kicked out. However, the woman's voice sounded more and more enthusiastically, and it was obvious that Nangong Young Emperor had launched a new wave of offensive. Xia Qianchen breathed a sigh of relief. "It's been at least an hour. This man has taken some stimulant potion, and its lasting power is amazing." Just as she was thinking about it, the man said coldly, "Come out." Xia Qianchen was shocked. "If you don't want her forehead to turn into a bloody hole." Xia Qianchen was silent for a moment, then opened the curtains and saw the man standing with his back to her, with nothing on his lower body. A well-made and strong figure with excellent proportions comparable to that of a magazine model. And that woman had already fainted in the bathtub due to a strong plunder. Xia Qianchen subconsciously lowered the curtains again. "Sir, I am an hourly employee of this villa. So, I'm not a bad person. I felt unwell when I was working in the afternoon. I fainted, and I just woke up. I didn't mean to eavesdrop on your privacy. I hid because I didn't want to disturb you. You know, you can't find such a high-paying job anywhere. I won't make mistakes on purpose." Young Emperor Nangong raised the corners of his lips coldly. If he hadn't seen the women's shoes exposed under the curtains and swept the rag and bucket on the sink, he would have just taken a gun and punched the person behind the curtains through the hole. Under such circumstances, the person behind the curtain could answer him calmly, which actually made him a little interested. "Do you think you should tolerate unintentional mistakes?" His voice was cold, and he was frightened by the news. Xia Qianchen still maintained his calmness and replied, "Of course not. Mr. is a person who knows rewards and punishments. I am willing to punish myself with a whole day's salary today." "Why do you think I am a person who knows rewards and punishments?" he asked, picking up a bath towel and wrapping it around his lower body. "From the minutiae of Mr. S. life. For example, everything in the villa, such as toothpaste, toothbrushes, mouthwash cups, etc., must be placed where it should be and cannot be moved at all. This shows that Mr. has a rigorous style and will not attack without reason. The shirts of the same color and type are arranged in separate categories, and Mr. only wears dark clothes, which shows that Mr. is very principled. And this is not enough reason for me to forgive you. As a servant, you dare to figure out the master's thoughts." "Don't dare." Xia Qianchen bit her lower lip. "Mister, you have strict requirements and special hobbies. I can't find a suitable hourly worker for you in a short period of time. I dare not say that I am the best at doing it, but since I took over the villa, except for tonight, I have not made any mistakes. I only made one mistake to make you unhappy. Not only will I be punished, but I will work better to make up for it in the future. If you fire me and replace me with someone who doesn't understand your hobbies, I think they will do more wrong things to make you unhappy before you get used to each other. No reply. I really need this job so that my husband can be happy in the future. Young Emperor Nangong raised his lips and glanced at the curtains. He didn't know whether it was because he was in a good mood tonight or because the voice didn't bother him so much, so he didn't pursue the matter further. Take care of everything here, including the woman in the bath. With these words, Emperor Nangong left the bathroom. Xia Qianshun breathed a sigh of relief and walked out of the curtain. The lighting in the bedroom was warm, and in front of a large wine cabinet, a handsome man poured red wine into a goblet. Xia Qianshun quietly closed the bathroom door and quickly cleaned up the bathroom and returned it to its original state. She just didn't know how to clean up the unconscious and naked woman lying in the bathtub. Young Emperor Nangong heard the internal line ringing and picked up the phone. Xia Qianshun hesitated to ask, "Sir, excuse me, does the lady in the bathroom help her wash up and send her back to your bed, or does she have other requests?" "Kill him and bury him in the backyard." "Which choice do you want?" "I understand. I will clean her and send her back to your bed." Young Emperor Nangong raised his lips playfully. This was the first time that the other party was not frightened by his tone, but was calm and composed. Reclining on the dark red sofa, her large bathrobe was loose, exposing her tight and strong chest. In the wine glass, the red wine and balsamic vinegar swayed in color as attractive as his lips. The bathroom door opened, and Xia Qianshun struggled to carry the woman to the bed. After laying her down, she covered her with a quilt. She turned back to look at Nangong Young Emperor and made a servant salute. "Sir, I have already packed it up." Under the light, Xia Qianshun was wearing an old t-shirt and jeans, a peaked cap, and a huge mask on his face. She stood a little far away, and her demeanor and behavior were beyond the composure of a normal person. Nangong Young Emperor's handsome face is as handsome as before, with a hint of exploration. No woman has ever been so shocked when seeing his appearance. Why wear a mask? "I have skin allergies recently in order to prevent bringing the virus to you." "Yeah." "Yes, sir. I'm sorry for disturbing you today. Could you please let me go?" Young Emperor Nangong frowned, the light of red wine reflected in his eyes, rippling like 1,000 layers of water, as if he was drunk from a pool of spring water. Every woman who sees him tries her best to stay and please him. However, why is this woman different? "Good night, sir." When there was no response from the master, Xia Qianshun performed another standard servant's courtesy and walked towards the entrance of the building. A cold and clear voice came from behind. "Stop. Lying in the bathtub for a long time 3. May I ask if you have any other instructions? Can you make late night snacks?" Xia Qianshun turned around and looked at him hesitantly. "Can I not do it?" "What you think?" "Obviously, I can't do it," Xia Qianshun said mockingly, and then asked, "What do you want to eat?" "What would you do?" "Normally I'm fine, but there's no ingredients in the refrigerator. There's nothing to eat here when you never eat at home." Young Emperor Nangong's eyes darkened, and he stared at her with sharp eyes. The Emperor's eyes seemed to say, "I'm hungry, no matter what method you use. Make me something to eat." The refrigerator is empty, and the kitchen is brand new and has not been used yet. Young Emperor Nangong only comes back to sleep at night and takes different women with him. This home was just a hotel for him to rest. "Where can I find anything to eat in this house?" "The villa is by the sea, very far away. She rides a bicycle every day. It's only 40 minutes away from a highway. Besides, it was raining heavily outside. How could she buy him supper in such a late night?" Even if she could, young Emperor Nangong wouldn't want to wait. "Have you thought about it?" Young Emperor Nangong tapped his fingers on the armrest. I didn't expect that I won't have to come again tomorrow. If I thought about it, would it be able to offset the mistakes I made today? His cold eyes narrowed. You are negotiating terms with me. I'm making amends, sir. I only give you 10 minutes. Special division for young master. 10 minutes passed. Young Emperor Nangong went downstairs and heard the sound of ping-pong-pong in the kitchen. He sat down in front of the coffee table, wanting to see what she would make. Apple and pear soup is nourishing, clearing away heat and reducing internal heat. Try it. Xia Qianshen also eats it frequently in summer, which is good for the skin. So she is good at this. Young Emperor Nangong didn't ask where the fruit came from, but when he saw the soup, his expression felt wrong. Sir, don't you like to eat fruit? Xia Qianshen reminded. Young Emperor Nangong seemed to have come back to his senses from some kind of thoughts, and after taking a sip, his face became even more solemn. Does it taste good? He said nothing, but took his second sip. Xia Qianshen knew from this that he accepted the taste. It's getting late, can I leave? Young Emperor Nangong frowned, displeased with her making noises to disturb his eating. Xia Qianshen had no choice but to stand aside and wait. He ate very quickly, and his movements were obviously not elegant, but he still looked like a picture. Soon a big bowl of apple and pear soup was eaten, not even the soup was left. Xia Qianshen said respectfully, Sir, it's getting late, so I won't disturb you anymore. You should go to bed early. She just turned around and took a few steps. Bang, the sound of the porcelain bowl hitting the coffee table heavily. The hard-to-get trick is good. It's a pity that it was overacted and seemed distorted. His voice was as cold as an Azura from hell, so cold that his spine trembled, and he felt like he was getting cold. Xia Qianshen stopped and looked back at him in surprise. He was leaning on the sofa, his expression not only filled with sinister looks, but also disgust with her. His disgusted eyes looked at her from top to bottom, as if she was a filthy germ. I hate women who are deep-hearted and eager to get, and you especially the most. Xia Qianshen said patiently, Even a prisoner on death row is qualified to know the reason for his crime. I can know why before I die. I am very interested in making this bowl of apple and pear soup. Xia Qianshen understood. Sir, I guess you have misunderstood. I got the fruits from the gods' offerings. The rock sugar and candied dates were found next to the coffee machine. Right in front of the hall on the first floor is an offering to the gods, and fresh fruits need to be replaced every day, which are all added by her. Young Emperor Nangong looked up and saw that the plate at the god's place was empty. Xia Qianshen said again, You are hungry, so you asked me to make a midnight snack. This is your last-minute idea. I can't be that good. I figured out your thoughts in advance and prepared this bowl of soup. Nangong Young Emperor's voice still had a chill in it. It's such a coincidence that I fainted. There are monitors in the villa. I really fainted. If you don't believe it, you can pull up the video and see that I lay in the bathroom for a long time. You know a lot. You even know there are monitors in the villa. This is what every normal person should infer. For such a large and luxurious villa, it is in a remote location and there are no servants or bodyguards to guard it. Of course, it will have monitors and alarm systems. In other words, you knew there were surveillance cameras in the villa, so why didn't you pretend to faint and ask me to find out? Xia Qianshen was speechless. When he said this, she couldn't even explain it in 1,000 words. You are really good at talking. Why don't you continue to refute me? Xia Qianshen bit her lip. Her heart was really angry. The unspeakable anger made her lose her mind for a moment. If you want to incriminate someone, why bother? Young Emperor Nangong's eyes flashed, and he suddenly stood up and approached her. He is tall and imposing, and he has a handsome face, but with such arrogant and evil aura, anyone will be frightened by the murderous intent in his eyes. He is the perfect person for her. Xia Qianshen was not afraid. She felt that she had done nothing wrong, so her eyes were fearless. He walked up to her and reached out to take off her mask. In desperation, she grabbed his wrist with her backhand. He backhanded her with such force that she fell far away and hit a nearby coffee table, hitting her head on the hard edge. The pain made her frown. Xia Qianxin stretched out her hand and touched it, and red blood stained her palm. Nangong Young Emperor reached out and touched his wrist, as if the place she had scratched was stained with dirt. For the sake of my good mood tonight, you saved your life. He stared at her condescendingly. Xia Qianxin picked up her bag on the ground and stood up slowly. Sir, if you really think that this series of coincidences are my premeditated approach, I have nothing to say. But please investigate again. I really need this job. Roll. The simple and clear words made the crystal lamp vibrate. There was a slight sound from upstairs. The unconscious woman woke up at some point and looked downstairs. When she saw this scene, she immediately retracted her head. Xia Qianxin clenched her palms tightly. With her character, she wanted to walk out of here without looking back. My heart is filled with rising anger. I have never suffered such huge humiliation in my life. She took a step to leave, but a figure flashed through her mind. He was still waiting for her to save him. Xia Qianxin gritted his teeth. I promise to get off work on time from now on, and this situation will never happen again. If there is a next time, it's up to you. Go away. What will happen to you when I repeat it for the third time? A silver pistol appeared in his hand. Xia Qianxin's chest heaved vigorously. This time, she was calm and tenacious and walked out of the villa without looking back. Her steps were quick. She just wanted to leave this suffocating place quickly. This man who would make her breathless just by looking at her. Silence fell as the door closed. Young Emperor Nangong sat on the sofa and looked at the empty bowl. In my mouth, I still taste the apple and pear soup, and the long-lasting taste overlaps with a blurry figure in my mind. He suddenly grabbed the bowl and threw it to the ground with all his strength. Special division for young master. That night, Xia Qianxin braved the storm and drove on the dark road. The strong wind knocked her and the bicycle over several times. She bumped her knee, and the wound on her head was soaked in rainwater. The pain spread from her bones to her limbs. It's more than an hour away from where she lives. When she passed by the 24-hour convenience store, she bought some medicines for bleeding, bandaging, cold, and high fever. As expected, when she fell down in a daze, she fell into a high fever. I fell asleep until the third day, when I received a call from my best friend Jianni. Xia Qianxin rolled up her quilt and sat up, feeling dizzy. What's the date today? July 17th, Beijing time, 3:42 p.m. You immigrated to Mars, and I almost blew up your phone. Xia Qianxin rented a small room of 28 square meters by herself. She left early and came home late, and did not interact with anyone nearby. In other words, even if she died here, it smelled so bad that no one would notice her. Who made our eldest lady angry again? Oh, my father arranged for me to go on a blind date again. I don't know where they were dug from. They are all so ugly that I would vomit out the dinner I had eaten the night before. Isn't it good last time? Don't ask too much. Xia Qianxin took out medicine. There are no perfect people in this world. But it's not that bad. I have high standards. Please, this is a lifetime thing. Can you just make do with it? Then what do you want? If young Emperor Nangong is like that, we don't have to choose. Jianni smacked her lips. He is the perfect person.